Anna Allen. All right, and even as that is going on in Ol-Kalou this morning, we'll come back with updates on that, and we continue with our conversation this morning to then be able to look into certain things. And we can see already that Fanya Mambo has already made some has formed a thought about what he's seen so far. And this conversation allows us to get into a conversation this hour when we're going to be looking at the politics of legalities. Fanya Mambo, good morning.
A very good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Karibu sana.
It's another beautiful morning. Thank you, Spice FM. Thank you for having me. It's a great day to be here for us to have this very important national conversation.
Indeed. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. So let's quickly look into today's proverb. What that is might be interesting as we're talking about legalities around politics.
Yes.
This one might be fun.
The proverb comes from Libya. Let's just go straight into it. A thief is a thief, whether he steals meat from a pot of soup or he steals diamonds.
Yeah, I think to me, it's the issue of bad things. That it doesn't matter how you try to make it look like one is trivial and the other one is not. If you're doing bad things, you're doing bad things. So let us not sanitize it. And the problem we are having is actually the bulk of the people who are serving sentences are for very trivial offenses. The people who are looting this economy dry, the people who are stealing from us, the people who are causing most of the problems we have, stealing on an industrial scale are actually walking free. So let us not sanitize corruption and call it corruption. It's actually theft. Yeah, it is theft.
Well said.
Call it what it is.
Yeah.
What do you see about this Ol-Kalou by-election? I know that the picture that's painted is that there is a by-election and people are going to vote, and then at the end of the day it will be called and we'll know who sits in that parliamentary seat. But what do you see?
I think to start with is we haven't really taken advantage of the words in our national anthem. We haven't prayed about this by-election. If you think about it, it starts by saying, "O God of all creation, bless this our land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender," especially in Ol-Kalou. And then when we get there, that's when we continue with the prayer and say that we are praying against those who want to cause violence. If there is any person who wants to shoot any person in Ol-Kalou, may their gun fail to cock. And if it cocks, may it fail to shoot. And if it shoots, may it miss. And if it misses and it doesn't go to the right place, may it land in a tree. We are also praying that in case there is any stuffed ballots, as we may have had, we are praying that that vehicle that is going to carry those stuffed ballots may have an accident. In fact, may it ram into a vehicle that is an exhauster, so that all the contents of the exhauster may empty themselves on that vehicle. We don't want them to die. May they smell for 3 months. We are also praying for those people who are having communications and they are trying to do the bad things, that their walkie-talkies may get confusion. Akipiga simu anasikia Al-Shabaab, anasikia Janjaweed, anasikia communication kutoka Russia. We are praying for total confusion, that there may be a Tower of Babel. We are also praying that if anything, any of those people who is planning evil against our people, that they will have a problem, serious diarrhea by lunchtime. I want them to be admitted at JM Hospital so that they can sleep on those GOK mattresses. And during the course of their treatment, we pray that something bad happens. Ile generator, transformer ilikuwa imetolewa mbele, irudishwe kwao when they are being treated so that they benefit from candlelight. We will pray for bad things for anybody who is wishing that there be violence in Ol-Kalou. We pray for peace for IBC. We want them to have the smile of Safaricom customer care agents. We want them to receive people well. How can I give you the ballot? Might you have slept well this morning? We are praying that they are going to be okay. Yeah. If there is any IBC official who is planning to announce the wrong candidate, may they suffer goiter immediately. May they get cancer of the throat. Wow. May they be unable to speak. May they be unable to announce the wrong results. So we are praying in all honesty that God will be faithful to the people of Ol-Kalou so that they can get the right candidate. Yeah. And we pray for total confusion in the camp of anybody who is trying to plan anything evil. In fact, may the master planner of that thing experience serious problems. May that person find themselves in hospital. We wish them bad luck. But the people of Ol-Kalou, we wish you well. We wish you God's grace. We wish you his blessings. We wish you success. So let us pray. It is very serious because the God we pray to is more faithful and more powerful than all those people who are planning bad things. I think that's the starting point.
It's a good place to start. But even while we start there, we look at elections and how it is a legal process. It is a legal process in the sense that there are electoral laws that ought to be followed. There are regulations, there are code of conduct that are in place to govern how these by-election would be handled. Yet we have seen intimidation, we have seen bribery, we have seen corruption. And with all this, there is some looming silence. No action is being taken. No heads are turning. Why would you reckon that is?
I'll start from Kipchumba Murkomen and the IG of police. I will tell them that when we needed state protection, when leaders like Akina Orengo were having meetings in Kisumu, and goons were carrying batons and arrows and sticks and everything, the police were not available. When we needed protection in Keumbu for Linda Mwananchi, the police were not available. When Rigathi Gachagua has needed police protection and is being beaten up in Wetima and every place, police are not available. When our people were being beaten, when Muranga governor's bodyguard was being, or driver was being shot in Nyahururu, the police were not available. But when the people of Ol-Kalou offer themselves to queue peacefully, to vote for a leader that they want, suddenly 1,000 policemen are available. What kind of madness is this? Where were there 1,000 police when we were being attacked in Wetima? Where were there 1,000 police when Akina Sifuna were being beaten in Kisii, Keumbu? Where were there 1,000 police when young people were parading bows and arrows in Kisumu town and actually shooting them into a congregation in church? Where were they? So there's a mismatch of priorities in terms of security. When this nation made William Ruto president and he swore to protect the constitution. It is not us, it is him. And he swore to give us peace and order and tranquility. And now what we are seeing is the state meeting violence upon its people. When I see the kind of militarization that is happening in Ol-Kalou, I am deeply worried because I ask myself, ni vita gani kwa Ol-Kalou? Why do we need 1,000 policemen in Ol-Kalou? We needed policemen when our people were being beaten up. We needed policemen when goons were parading themselves in town. We needed policemen when goons came and the president was launching a bridge in Dagoretti and nothing was happening because the goons were stealing from us during the day. But now that people have decided to offer themselves to what is a very peaceful process, you have 1,000 policemen available. This is where we have a problem with the state. That they overmobilize police when police are not needed. And when police are needed to protect the people, the police are not made available. So this is bad. The constitutional provision is that we want that every ballot is going to count and that every vote is going to be important. What we are worried about is not now that people have queued. What we are worried about is what will happen at 6 o'clock when counting begins. I was in Mbere. I was in a police polling station that was attacked by a CS, and he knows himself, and I keep reminding him, even when we meet. And they came and they did bad things to us, and they left the stations to themselves, and they announced that whatever results they want, and there was no agent from the opposition in that place. We are worried about what will happen after 6 p.m. So we are telling Kenyans to remain vigilant. Voting is one thing, but we want to be allowed to have a transparent counting process. We want the media to be allowed to have the cameras inside every classroom. And we want to be able to see it happening. There is no law against filming the counting of votes. That much we have established. So let the votes be counted in public, let the results be made public, and let the people of Ol-Kalou get the leader that they deserve.
Do you think that this is a contest between two individuals, or is it actually an opportunity for the voice of Kenyans to be heard? Not to forget that there are 9 candidates in this by-election. Interestingly enough, today we see the pictures of the two what would be called front runners. I dare say that many people didn't even know who they were, except that their names are Samuel.
Yes, it is a contest between two individuals. I was in Ol-Kalou for 3 days. I wish I was there longer. But the more I wanted to go back, the more my party DCP calls me and tells me, we need someone in all the studios. So you can imagine how it has been for me. But when I looked at Ol-Kalou throughout, I saw posters of the DCP candidate. They had Rigathi Gachagua's photo in the background. Are you aware that there was no banner from the UDA candidate that had William Ruto's photo. It is impossible to put William Ruto's photo anywhere in Nyandarua. It's the people don't want to see it.
Oh, that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Even the guy who is campaigning on UDA could not put William Ruto's photo on any of his banners, any of his posters, any of his billboards. It's not there.
What does that now mean
Check.
further?
It's not there. The billboards are still up in the air. Yeah, it's not there. So it means that there's this competition, but it's not really a competition between the two. William Ruto had gone around this country saying that yeye ndio alijitafutia kura Mount Kenya, and that he did not need anybody else to get votes for himself in Mount Kenya. And therefore, Rigathi Gachagua, according to him, was inconsequential. Now, Rigathi Gachagua is trying to show him that I am the one who got you the votes in this mountain. So this contest is all about that. It's all about William Ruto trying to show that he has the mountain on his own, and Rigathi Gachagua reminding him that that is not possible anywhere in this planet.
There's an old lady just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
I mean, bless her heart. And what did she say? She said, tunaomba tu wasitupige, tunataka tu kupiga kura na tuende nyumbani.
Yeah.
So the mindset already is that there might be some kind of violence which people just are not interested in. What do
She
you think
actually
about
said, President wetu, sisi tunaomba watu wasikuje kutupiga. Sisi ni watu wa amani.
I was in Ol-Kalou, I keep repeating. And you know, the interesting thing about Ol-Kalou, the guy who was wearing a UDA kofia is the person who you take your cow to when it's on heat. You know, he's your neighbor somehow. Then the guy who was wearing a DCP kofia is the guy whose canter carries your cabbages to Nairobi. These are the kind of people you are looking at. They know each other so well. They are connected so deeply. When they go to church, one is the district head, I don't know, the other one ako kwa jumuiya, the other one sings in the choir. These are the same people. Mmoja akavalishwa kofia ya yellow, mwingine akavalishwa ya green. Why would those people fight? I'm telling you, everywhere we went in Ol-Kalou, we met people wearing yellow and others wearing green. And sometimes I remember there's a hotel we used to sit in. And we would all be there, wale wamevaa green, wamevaa yellow, and we are sharing meals. And we are having conversations. Because honestly, these people are the same. You can't even separate them. You can't even draw a demarcation between what was supposed to have been a UDA supporter and a DCP supporter. They are even related. Some of them, they are in-laws, you know. Tumeoa kwa kina hawa. It's just that when the parties came, you look for mobilizers, you know, like if I'm in DCP, I look for you, you give me mobilizers. Then someone looks for her and she gives her mobilizers for UDA. But really, these people are the same. These people go to the same church, they go to the same schools, they sit in the same, you know, they go to the same hospital, they meet everywhere. Mmoja anabebea mwingine cabbage, mwingine ni mechanic wa mwingine. So that nonsense of trying to bring a war or a fight in Ol-Kalou based on a yellow coffee or a green coffee is not going to work.
I'm hearing you say that the violence that the country has been treated to, of what we've seen in Ol-Kalou, is something that perhaps is imported into Ol-Kalou, because the people of Ol-Kalou know each other. You'll beat your person today, tomorrow you're there selling.
You can't even bring yourself to beat them.
Yeah.
Utaulizwa wewe ndio ulichapa mtoto wa mama Kamau. Like the whole society will come to your house. Wewe ndio ulichapa mtoto wa mama Kamau. How would you do that? I am telling you, I was there on Saturday when our truck, the DCP truck, was attacked. I was right there. And the two guys who were wielding guns, they walikuwa wamejifunika, and people were able to expose them. And the guys who were throwing stone and the tear gas that was lodged at the truck, and the 3 Prados that were chasing that vehicle. Namoja, it was elbowed by the truck driver and it rolled. And within 5 minutes, it had been removed from the scene. And there was no report of that accident. They didn't want it reported. I keep asking people, these goons who selectively choose to fight opposition people and don't fight. But are you aware there was no attack on anything UDA? There was nothing UDA that was attacked.
At least not reported.
It was just DCP. And all those Prados that were chasing us, none of them had number plates. Can you imagine opposition people driving vehicles without number plates? What would happen to us? I keep telling government, if these are our goons, we've given you permission, kill them. If they are ours, kill them in the morning and parade their bodies we see. They can't. If they are our goons, sisi kama opposition, tumewapatia ruhusa, kill them. And parade to Kenyans and say these are opposition goons. But that's where they draw the line. So this violence is imported, and this violence is state sanctioned.
So what would you reckon is the reason of having over 1,000 police officers in...
Intimidate people.
Wow.
That's why we are praying that their guns refuse to cock. And that's why we are praying that if there is a policeman who has a tear gas on him, by the time he tries to pull it out, arushie watu, may it explode on his buttocks. We don't want that tear gas to get to our people. So we will pray for bad prayers for these people. They will not have peace. They will not have peace. They will not have peace. Because our people in Ol-Kalou have chosen to be peaceful. Can you imagine those guys, even the abduction of Kanini Kega and what happened to his vehicle and everything? Do you know what it was a man supposed to do? Mm-hmm. It was not just Kanini Kega. They were trying to look for prominent people who are seen to be anti-government. Get one of them and then do something terrible to them so that the public can be agitated. We were clever. We went to all media houses. We spoke to people. We told them, ata wakishika candidate Muchina. Sorry, the washike candidate wa DCP had disappeared, Sami Ngodho. Please don't demonstrate. The idea was cause anger. The people go to the streets. They light bonfires. Then when they light bonfires, FECON would have come and said, there is no peace in Ol-Kalou. So we've told our people, whatever they do, refuse to be provoked until the votes are counted.
Okay, let's take a break because we're going to come back and look at something that was essentially said by the IEBC yesterday in terms of some of these things that you think the same people of Ol-Kalou who, I mean, from the pictures that we've seen this morning, generally seem to be a peace-loving people or just want to be able to do the thing and get it over with.
If anything.
Yeah, if anything.
Yeah.
You know? But it seems as though what's happening is being imported.
Yes.
And so let's take a look and see a little bit deeper into the conversation where the IEBC feels that not everything is bribery. We'll try to decipher what is not. We'll be back after this with Onyamambo.
This is the Situation Room. This is the Situation Room. The only way day.
Would be seem to be getting a little bit of something that would, flavor their votes a little bit. But IEBC Commissioner Anne Derrito said yesterday that citizens do not lose their rights to development simply because there is an election. You cannot suspend development during an election period. She also said that not every handout during campaign is bribery. So I am at a pains to understand how you decipher between what is bribery and what is a handout. I think I've been asking this question for a week because according to the IEBC, they seem to know that not all of it is. So then how would you know which is so that you can do something about it from a legal point of view?
IEBC is an appendage of State House.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop.
Oh, okay.
What they are doing with instructions from elsewhere, not from where they are supposed to be doing it from. Tell me why we have mattresses branded GOK being given only in Ol-Kalou constituency. I mean, we have so many hospitals that don't have mattresses. In where they came from, Mbere, just the other day, Mbere had gone on a demonstration because Ishiara Hospital did not have adequate mattresses. In fact, theirs were cockroach infested. And when people went on demonstration, what did the government do? They shot 2 of them. They killed them for demonstrating and saying Ishiara Hospital doesn't have mattresses. Then all of a sudden, they're able to get mattresses to come and give to the people of Mbere. I saw them pick transformers. And we were told by their MP and others that those transformers have gone for maintenance. And I agree. I actually cannot compete with them. I think Kenya Power has come up with a very serious plant in Ol-Kalou for transformer maintenance so that conveniently only the transformers from Mbere would, fall short of delivery. And therefore, they are all carried for routine maintenance. And that maintenance only happens in Ol-Kalou, and it only happens during elections. And we have accepted with them, and we believe them, and they are speaking the truth. FECON should be thoroughly ashamed of himself. When he comes and sees a member of parliament from UDA saying that leo peke yake nimepeana 1.2 million shillings to you people of Ol-Kalou so that you can vote for the UDA candidate. And that does not amount to anything. They file him 2.5 million. In true sense, what should have happened is that the UDA candidate should have been disbarred from this election. Because it was an admission first on the person who gave the bribes. And 2, they even say they gave it on behalf of the UDA candidate. And 3, IEBC actually finds him guilty. and fines him 2.5 million payable within 48 hours. So if someone is totally guilty of bribing 1.2 million shillings, they admit, then IEBC fines them 2.5 million. It follows, therefore, that that candidate is guilty of a malpractice called voter bribery, and that candidate should not be on the ballot. It is that simple. Then we are left with 8.
So then why is it difficult?
If Econ has failed.
It's clear what you're saying. I mean, anybody would be able to figure that out. But why is there? We can almost close to calling it a distaste to then actually say, look here, what you are doing here, even if it borders, even if it is just at the border for it to be called bribery, or if it is just at the border for it to be called misconduct, why does there seem to be a distaste to actually saying, let's do something about it? You'd sooner arrest somebody else who was jaywalking in the city.
As I told you, it's like what they did to Rigathi Gachagua. Your rights have been abused. Your rights have been trampled on, but we are giving you a bribe of 50 million shillings because your rights were abused. I mean, how do you come and tell someone that actually you are guilty of bribing? You're guilty of bribing on behalf of UDA. You're guilty of bribing on behalf of the old UDA candidate. You have given 1.2 million on behalf of UDA. We have actually found you guilty and we have fined you 2.5 million, but the UDA candidate will continue to be on the ballot. Econ has got no ethics. That's how it goes. And what we are seeing is an IEBC that has proven to us way beforehand that they are incapable of giving us a free and fair election next year. In Kasipul Kabondo, people died, literally. There is no free and fair election when people are dying. Panyako, Malava, people died. You know, how bad does it get to when you see a goon from Kayole, that fat guy who was beaten up completely and stripped naked and so on and so forth, and he admits he was brought by who? He says who brought them, he said what they were doing, he said everything, but we continued. And IEBC actually announced the candidate as a winner as long as that candidate is a government candidate.
So one asks the question, because election is a process and everything will determine the outcome, where we see that the laws have been broken, where today, as we said, you've just stated that IEBC cannot deliver a free and fair election. What guarantees are there then that the process that we're seeing, already the laws have been broken? Where is freeness? Where is fairness in the exercise that is taking place?
We are keeping a record. We are not quiet. We are keeping a record. And after these by-elections, should we find the need, then we will file a petition as the opposition so that Econ is declared unfit to hold that office. So we will keep compiling. Let him continue burning his fingers. We will keep compiling and we will wait. Should we find the need to file that petition, we will go to court and say we want him declared unfit to hold public office because of some of the things that are happening. You cannot tell us it's okay for people to die during a by-election and then you continue and announce the candidate that you feel like you want to announce. This Ol-Kalou is a litmus test for Econ. In fact, it's his last opportunity to mess Kenyans. Econ, we are putting you on notice. Do the right thing. Should you not do the right thing, we will move to the courts. And we shall go all the way to the Supreme Court. And we are hoping to be able to get justice. Yeah.
Now, of course, we say that this is a litmus test for the next general election and looking at what it would look like. But this is going to be a by-election like Ol-Kalou on Promax. Because you are now looking at the entire country. And if the indictment that has already been placed on the IEBC, whether it's fair here or not, is that they're not able to handle because they may be compromised. And those are very serious things that we are saying. That a just newly established, about a year ago, established IEBC is already showing, allegedly, signs of, compromise. And, we can say it flippantly in a discussion, but that is a very serious indictment on an electoral body. How do you stay the course when there are all these things flying in the air?
I think we will keep reminding them, and we will not get tired of reminding them, that you're not holding those offices for yourself. Kenyans have allowed you to hold that office in trust for them. And that elections mean a lot to all of us as a nation. And we want free, We want fair, we want credible elections. That's the bare minimum you can do. You'll be surprised because we have interacted with some of the IEBC officials. We have incredibly good people at the secretariat. People who run, when you see ballot papers arriving in time, when you see them, they are sealed, you'll see there is a collection of people who are really trying to do the good thing. When you see polling stations open at 6, when you see people queuing and there's some order and there's some paper, it will tell you that within IEBC, we have a staffage beneath that leadership that is compromised, that is really willing to do the right thing and capable of doing the right thing. And IEBC as an institution or as an organ has got a lot of experience. Remember, the only people we usually change most of the time are commissioners. The bulk of the staff remains the same. So the experience is there. In fact, these commissioners don't do much. So even if we change them tomorrow morning, it's not going to change much. There's no commissioner who goes there and designs a ballot paper. There's no commissioner who goes there and designs the flow chart of how things are going to happen. There's no commissioner who goes there and... No! These guys can change tomorrow morning and IEBC will continue because IEBC is an institution. It has got clerks with experience. It has got advocates with experience. It has got, finance people with experience. It's not like the head of finance has left IEBC tomorrow morning. It's not like the head of logistics has left IEBC tomorrow morning. The drivers who've been there, they know where the polling stations are. They're probably the same ones who carried the ballot materials during the previous election. So let it not look like if we were to remove the current crop that is not doing well, everything would come to an end. I dare assure you, those commissioners there, other than sitting in boardrooms and doing some funny conundrums here and there, we would replace them tomorrow, a night to the election, and things would still go on.
Yep. The other person who's rather a body that is supposed to ensure that these elections get to happen according to the law is the government of Kenya. Why do I say that? Because you talk about security, is the government that is in charge. Even financing of IEBC is the government of Kenya. Yet we have seen how the government has gone deep into Ol-Kalou by-elections. We've seen cabinet secretaries, government agencies campaigning openly, and one asks the question where we see that the government is one-sided in this process. How then are we sure, how deep rather is government's hand in this election and trying to sway or tip the results?
The cabinet secretaries who allowed themselves to be used that way and the principal secretaries who allowed themselves to be used that way, shame on you. Because we have 53 million Kenyans expecting services from a cabinet secretary. And that cabinet secretary has moved office. They were actually domiciled somewhere in Nyahururu and Nakuru, serving only 74,000 people and only worried about winning a seat that is one constituency and forgetting their 289 others. And that's why I tell government sympathizers from across the country, I ask them, wewe, kwenyu ni wapi? Maybe Kisii, maybe Migori, maybe Kakamega, maybe even Murang'a. Na wewe ni mtu wa tutam, ndio. And you are happy that there's a minister who is supposed to have been serving your people, and that minister is somewhere in Ol-Kalou trying to deliver a seat to a party that is making the life of Kenyans terrible. And you continue just, shouting tutam here like someone. We need prayers. In fact, some of these people just need to be prayed for. When you see someone who is shouting tutam at the top of their voice, sometimes you need to understand them. And I think Mathare has not been accommodative enough to some of these people. We need to start finding a way to give them counseling, to get a counseling psychologist, to sit with them, to understand how such a human being would do. I have told you before, there's something called the Stockholm syndrome. The Stockholm syndrome happened when some bank robbers moved into a bank. They made everybody lie down, and they held them captive for 6 days. And, they would beat them up. They would do all sorts of things. And then towards the third day, these people started getting attracted or addicted to the people who were mistreating them, the captors. And because this guy is giving you permission to go to the washroom, you think he's a really nice guy. He's giving you drinking water from a dispenser, you think. So by the 6th day, when these people were released, guess what they did? Some refused to give testimony against these people in court. Others actually wanted to pay bail for their abductors in court. We are going through a Stockholm syndrome where some Kenyans are extremely protective of a regime that has done bad things to them. So don't come and think that all these Kenyans are normal. Some of them have been so mistreated by the abductors. They think the abductors are doing them a favor, and now they are defending them. They would even pay cash bail for the person who came and took away their freedom. So let us pray for them and let us help them. Let us even get them psychiatric help if we need to. Anybody shouting two term that carelessly might be going through a Stockholm syndrome moment.
Well, you've come with prayers today.
Yeah.
Why would anybody need to prove the worth of their metal if they were actually doing a good job?
I keep saying, I don't remember Mwai Kibaki launching the construction of roads. I remember him opening projects that were complete.
Commissioning, yeah.
I don't remember him promising roads. I remember him just doing roads. In fact, I don't remember him on Land Cruiser tops. The day this administration will choose to know that there is an office called Harambee House and that it is the president's office, the day they'll decide to know that there's a place where a person who is elected is supposed to sit and work for Kenyans, Kenya will succeed. But for as long as we continue running this nation from Land Cruiser tops and sunroofs, in fact, I think there should ban for some roofs from some cars for some time. Tuseme gari ya president haifai kuwa na sunroof, so that we just sit and work from where we are supposed to work. Maybe Kenya will move forward. This populism is what is finishing us. We need to go quiet and just work.
And I want to go and settle on the people for a minute, because I'm, again, conflicted that the people of Ol-Kalou are the least important people in this by-election, as has been prescribed by all the politicians who are faffing about. It is the case, it shouldn't be the case, that all we need you to do is, at the end of the day, come and vote so that we can count your numbers. Yeah. But if we really are concerned about what's happening with you and how we are going to make the country a little bit better legislatively by putting in a new person in this position, that really doesn't matter. It doesn't come into play. That the people of the constituency, their importance is underrated because that's not their intent, to be really concerned. It's a battle for the fittest, survival of the fittest, kind of, let's see then who will trump over the other. How are we going to reverse that situation whereby the Constitution safeguards Kenyans, but in political contest, Kenyans are the last consideration in any of this?
I worry deeply because I saw when Rigathi Gachagua said that this government was going to spend $1 billion in Ol-Kalou, I saw someone from government correcting him and saying, no, you are wrong. It's actually 10 billion. He said we are even going to do a university and a train and a lot of madness. So I asked myself, 10 billion per constituency times 290, we would need 2.9 trillion to run an election in this country. It's very expensive. Then I ask myself, why do we read the budget? Because from where I sit, I think we should ban that whole noise and pomp and color called reading the budget. Why would you want to read a budget? Ol-Kalou was not in the budget. And then post-budget, 10 billion is available. Where is it coming from? Why do we read budgets in this country? It's not necessary. Ati minister anakuja na ka briefcase, kunakuwa na pomp and color and shouting. Why are you reading a budget if it is possible to get 10 billion off the budget? If it is possible to wake up one morning and without a budget allocation, you can get 10 billion to be misused in one constituency. Baka munawapea votes. And I keep saying to Kenyans, some votes are worth more than others. Na ndio maana nasema, uko Malava kirudio, kimeibiwa, hata Mbere kirudio. Can you tell me why mtu anapewa chumvi na kiberiti na matchbox? And there's another one who's been given a boat and a mattress. So that has to come to an end. We need to get to the place where elections are not about political egos. Elections are about service to the people who deserve a good leader.
You know, as the citizens of Ol-Kalou currently are queuing to choose their next representative, it is only hoped that the individual who gets there looks at the people and say, I will deliver. That I will not just deliver because I said so, but because that is what the people do deserve. How do we then translate what we're seeing right now into working for the people and delivering that, assuming any party takes it? How then would, say, DCP ensure that the person who takes that position delivers for the people, and not to show might between President William Ruto or Rigathi Gachagua, but that the people get that which they wanted. That is beyond the results today.
I think it starts at the nomination stage. When these nominations were happening for DCP, I remember there's one of the candidates who was flying in a chopper all over Ol-Kalou, and he had money and he dished out money. And then we had this Sami Ngodho, who people decided, Moses Kuria decided to call a chokora, just because he didn't have the money and he didn't look that polished according to Moses Kuria. So wakamuita chokora. Ol-Kalou is setting a precedent for what will happen in 2027, and I am happy that they are doing it. They are saying 2027, your money is good to be eaten, but it will not determine who will vote for. Oh, I love that. That walikuja wakasema kwa hii by-election, walikula pesa by-election for a candidate who got 3,000 votes, but they get 12,000 votes to the person they wanted. The guy who had no money, the guy who was walking, by the hata hakuwa na gari, alipewa gari na watu. And then sasa, I like the day when they started changaing 10 shillings for him to buy a suit. Ukileta 200, unarudishiwa 190. Ukileta 50 bob, unarudishiwa 40, because they wanted 10 bob. And they bought him a suit ya kumwapisha. So 2027, Ol-Kalou is setting for us the pace in a very good way. The people will want to own their leader. Walisema huyo chokora wetu ndio tunataka. Huyo chokora yetu ndio tutachagua. Huyo mwenye hana pesa ndio tutachagua. Yani walikuwa wanaenda mkutano ya UDA wanapewa pesa. Wanakuja wanagawa. Wanapatia Sami Kamau. Wanamwambia Kamau, shika pesa ya campaign. Can you imagine someone amepatiwa 500 huko, anagawa 100 ama 200? That's a very big level of love. And that is what we want to see in 2027. In every constituency, kuna mtu atakuja splashing money. And in every constituency, kuna mtu atakuja akiitwa chokora. I pray that voters will discern and decide and say, look here, for the first time, it's not about money. Kama ni pesa ya kukuliwa, tutakula. Na mwenye anatoa pesa, we turn them into a hotel. That's where we go to eat. Na tukipata ya huyu billionaire, tunakuja tunagawa, tunapatia yule candidate tunataka, na tunampea kura. When Senator Medho was vying for Nyandarua, Nyandarua has got 5 very big constituencies. Actually, Kinangop is really big. Medho did not even have a car. Can you imagine not having a car and vying in 5 constituencies? And he was vying against people who had a lot of money. But the people of Nyandarua have proven to us that it is possible to get a credible leader with a spine, someone with courage, someone who is not afraid, and that person is not splashing money. And I love that. And I'm praying to Kenyans that we take at least that one lesson from Nyandarua. Medho was voted for, and he didn't have money. He didn't even have a car. But he was voted for because people believed in him. And he has delivered. If you look at him, he's on the side of the people. Okay? You come and you look at now Ol-Kalou, what is happening? The candidate they are having, Sami Kamau Ngodho, is actually one of the poorest they had on the menu. He's actually being called a chokora. Wanamchangia mpaka suti ya kumwapisha. I am pleading with our people. Let us look for the right leaders. Let us now start looking for something that is bigger than money. Because if you are too poor, the only thing you have is money, then it's bad.
Indeed. And that's where we are today. Ol-Kalou decides, but beyond a by-election where votes will be counted and then results will be announced later, that there is a blueprint that is being set for the country moving into the future. And it is the hope that with that blueprint, Kenya will plan. Fanya Mambo Kanulia, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's wait and see what happens. Asante sana. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.